Okay, welcome back. Yes, Honorable Chekwe joins us next. He's the head international relations of NLC. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, yes, we've seen that Labour has declared the strike, but we see that you also went ahead and listed this refusal to implement previous agreements, outstanding salary arrears, unjust declaration of workers as ghost workers, validation, vandalization of NLC State Secretariat, and then it goes on, which we'll come to soon. But is the real reason not the brutalization of NLC presidents?
What led to brutalization? The real reasons are all of the issues. Because if those issues were not existing, it wouldn't have even been the circumstance for brutalization. It's because these matters have been on since 2021. All efforts to get it resolved didn't work. That led to even going to him in the first place. So there wouldn't have been basis for even an attack or brutalization if worker salaries were paid.
But you also have heard the governor say that the NLC president is mixing politics with unionism, and so he couldn't separate it. And many then think probably that might have been the consequences. That's the attack.
Okay. I am happy you also have seen the reasons and the dates. Ajero only became NLC president in February. So these issues have been on. The governor did not resolve them. The governor is not ready to resolve them. And fortunately, I listened to three of you just a while ago, and I saw you agonizing about the arrogance of the political class and even questioning by the former minister why civil society and journalists should ask political questions. It baffles me that people have this arrogance, a feeling that no other person have right to even think political. If we have not gotten to that madness, the issue of saying that Ajero has political interest wouldn't have emerged.
But aren't those two separate things?
Because when you talk about being political, so the NLC president, for fear of being accused of being political, will disobey the orders of NEC that says that we must insist that workers of Imo State be paid their salaries.
I thought you were justifying his right to think political.
No, I'm trying to show first that moving to that accusation is a cheap blackmail that shouldn't be, if not that the political class have arrogated to themselves the only people that have right to be political.
But we also heard him say in one of the clips that emerged immediately after that, how he was talking about what they told him, that you're violating a court order, that there's an order of court that you should stay action, you shouldn't come here to protest, but you're here. And besides, right after that, there was another decision of court asking that Labour should hold forth. I think they adjourned to November 30 to determine that matter. But now Labour is also going ahead to declare this. Is this not a violation of that order?
Well, there was no court order. Let's get it clear.
Which one, then or now?
Up to now, we are not aware of any court order of any sort. Even the court order, the governor approached the court. We wrote him, the man claiming that Ajero is playing politics. Did not tell the world that NLC wrote him, giving him a notice, a 14 days notice, that if you don't implement these agreements, we will be forced to withdraw services and do protests. Instead of asking NLC for a meeting, he went to court. His attorney general, in that affidavit he deposited, the argument they made was that, yes, we entered into disagreements, but the exigencies of duty did not allow us to implement it. That was what they took to court.
What was the outcome of the court?
The court didn't oblige them. Our lawyer was in court, and there was no injunction granted. So we are taken aback.
Was it thrown out?
The case was adjourned. So no order was given.
So if the case is adjourned, it means that the matter is in court.
Of course.
So if it's in court, why then take laws into your hands?
No. Going to court does not stop us from running. That means tomorrow.
From protesting?
Yes.
The matter that is in court, you're trying to determine the outcome of that matter.
No. What was in court does not change the request that workers be paid.
Of which you're protesting for?
Yes.
And they said in court?
And he sought the court to stop us from protesting. The court didn't oblige.
No, but the matter has not been concluded.
Yeah,
so we can't say they didn't oblige yet, can we?
Okay, because also they've not obliged, and we also can't say they have been ended. We are going on with asking that the workers be paid. That's the issue. Let us not remove the core issue here. The core issue here is that people should be paid their salaries.
I still find it interesting because the conversation we had with a former chairman of the NLC in Imo here on this program, and went to the extent that, as far as the man is concerned, everyone in Imo is, especially the workers, they are satisfied. He's a former chairman of the NLC. And they are satisfied with what the governor is doing. We also have it, part of the question we asked your representative who was here on the program was, look, how come the NLC in Imo is not talking? How come the chairman of NLC in Imo, we're not hearing their own voices? The chairman of the NLC in Imo, EXCO in NLC in Imo, how come we're not hearing their voices? How come it has to be the national body fighting for a state when we have an NLC in the state?
Okay. It seems you didn't go through the chronology of the matter. I'll take you to that. A former chairman of NLC, whom you are talking about, who is now SA to the governor, was a man the governor came into power and said he can't work with. That he will choose the person he wants to be chairman. And he said he's choosing a man from the local government union, from his own local government. And that's the person that will be his NLC chairman. That's even the beginning of the crisis. A meeting was held. The governor was reminded about our extant laws and ILO provisions that government should not interfere in the internal running of the unions. Government should not, or employer, interfere in choosing the leadership of the unions. The governor then said he will never recognize him. He got to a point that his life was threatened. That same chairman ran out of his state and lived in New York and Cross River for 2 years. His return is becoming SA to the governor. While that was going on, a full cycle of his tenure came to an end. And the NLC organized national election for state councils, all the state councils in the country. On the day of the election, the governor insisted on having his own candidate to become the NLC chairman in Imo. Noticing that his candidate was not winning the election, the governor sent thugs and police to go and disrupt, beat up, took the electoral materials that the election was to be conducted. NLC appointed a caretaker for the interim. Only in Imo was the only place the governor intercepted. Now, the caretaker is the one representing NLC because the governor disrupted the election. This same governor went ahead during May Day for the first time to organize a May Day. Invited traditional rulers in Imo, refused to give the workers venue to do May Day, didn't give approval that they use the venue for May Day. Now the workers decided to go to the NLC secretariat to do the May Day. The governor still sent thugs and police to go and scatter the workers.
How do you know it was the governor that did that?
How do I know? How do I know that the governor did this one? The governor that had publicly said that he won't accept this person as NLC president, even to our face.
Was the police actually involved?
Of course.
It's a very, very dicey situation that, you know, the NLC... And this is the only state where the NLC has this problem?
Yes, the only state where the governor is interfering on NLC. In fact, the governor sent his thugs, this is a bag of people, to go and destroy NLC secretariat, occupied it, lived there for 2 years. Yes.
For 2 years, you say?
Yes. NLC was not allowed to get into their state. The state leadership had been crushed. The situation in Imo is that Imo citizens have been crushed by the governor.
Okay, but let's look at the timing. I mean, because you said that this is as far back as 2021. This is 2023, and it is the eve of elections in Imo State. If there's any time where at least you would say that workers will be able to show their might, they can show their might at the ballot. That's their prerogative, if they are happy or unhappy with the governor of Imo State. After all, he's seeking a re-election. But if the NLC says, look, this is the time we want to ramp up activities against you to show that workers in Imo State are unhappy, and the NLC president relocates to Imo and says, we're going to do a rally, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Relocate to
I mean, but he's in Imo State. He did not do the rally in Abuja.
Yes, because that's where we do rallies. It's not the first state we've had cause. Did in Kaduna?
I use that term.
We did
just a moment. I use the term relocate figuratively because if you talk to the politicians, that's precisely what they'll tell you. That he's moved to Imo State and he's going to do this rally and he's calling for workers to, you know, do a protest, etc. A few days before elections. Doesn't that already show NLC's bias in the elections that's supposed to, you know, leave workers to determine by themselves who it is that they would like to vote for?
You know, at times I feel pain when people react for people not being paid salaries owed, as if we are talking. First of all, what we are discussing here is that these families, some people must have dropped out of school, some people must have gotten sick and there is no money to fund hospital bills, and some may have died. Some pensioners have died without receiving. And we are going to balance whether somebody will be happy that the election is coming, the election is not coming, and to be talking about timing, the timing to say that people should be alive, because that's what is at stake here. The timing to say that families should eat food. The timing to say that people should not drop out of school.
Comrade Ekwe, you and I know, just a moment, I totally get this. You and I know that there is absolutely no time when people should not be paid. I mean, if people are owed 1 month, that's bad. If they're owed 2 months, that is even worse. I mean, it should never have gotten to it. First of all, we haven't even gotten to whether it is all workers that you're... Is it all workers that are affected in Imo?
No, let me tell you...
Or just a section of workers?
No, let me tell you what the Imo State government is doing. Okay. So you can understand how terrible this case is. The governor came, sent a benchmark. That this is the money we are going to pay in a month. Got some guys that work on the computer for him outside the civil service rule structure. So at every month, they queue in names. Those that get to the benchmark of the money he decided to pay are paid salary. All the others are declared ghost workers. When we start making trouble, because this thing has been ongoing, then they'll say, okay, no. Now, they'll change some names, bring in some names that were out, drop some other people and pay. It's not as if we've kept quiet. There have been protests. These are the things that led to even disrupting the elections. Those are the things that led to he's determined to choose whom he wants to be NLC chairman.
Okay.
So that the people, he must have those who will not ask questions.
So it's a selective payment of workers in Imo State?
Yes.
A selective payment.
Those who are lucky, for some time, they will be paid. If NLC start making trouble, some new people will be brought in, some new people will be dropped, so that the argument will be, oh, we're paying.
But not everybody is paid.
Yes.
So, which is bad, and I don't think anybody is going to argue about whether or not that is bad. So
when people say about timing, but there's also a point I want to make about the timing. We've had cases, because we have been in this thing over the years, where a governor comes in, and we even write him a letter. Say, oh, Your Excellency, we have these issues outstanding, which have not been dealt with. And the man says, what have I done to you people? My predecessor was here. You didn't do any protest. Why must it me? And it's just coming in. This is things we have to live with over the years.
Which is really bad, Honorable.
No, we've gotten to a very terrible point. If you go to Imo, you will realize that the people are crushed.
It doesn't answer the question I'm asking.
What's the question?
Which is the fact that the people who are affected by this, they have a choice before them in these elections.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
And just a moment, they have a choice in these elections if they are unhappy. And I imagine that the workers in Imo State are a significant chunk of the electorate. If they're unhappy with the governor of the state, they have a right to either vote for him or not vote for him. That is their prerogative, especially with regards to this, if that is the first place they're feeling it, with regards to their salaries. But when the NLC at the national level says, look, this is the time we're going to come in and we think we can press for this here, do you not think that it immediately creates a bias against the governor of the state who is seeking a re-election? That's the question I'm asking.
Okay. I'll take those questions in three parts. The first one, which you are very interested in, we don't see any bias because Imo has not been the first state. In fact, even the federal government, if you remember, it was towards the last election that the NLC was pressing for minimum wage. So was it a bias against the federal government?
Is that a strategy on the part of NLC? Because you know that if that doesn't happen, then you can easily say, we'll hang you at the elections. If you do not do what it is that we want at this time, then you're going nowhere. Is that a strategy on the part of the NLC?
But won't you advise us to take that strategy?
Then
if it will work.
If that strategy is
it will work,
yes.
Won't you advise us to take it?
If that is your strategy.
If I'm owing you,
yes,
and you realize I got some money, and that's the time you need to ask, won't you ask for the money?
So why won't you own this strategy? If that is the strategy you adopted, why don't you own it wholeheartedly?
No. The issue is that we can reduce the real issue to just whether somebody feels we are being political. Talking about the election, because we are not scared about facing this. Talking about the election, in Imo in particular. Did the vote count? The governor in question, did the vote count? And he became governor. Can we shy away from this reality? In Imo we went. Is it not a place terrorized? Go to Imo. I challenge you. You won't see the poster of any other party.
Oh, your other shut down, please. How can we get there?
No, you can't get there. You can't get there.
No, but
you can't even see
I thought you said
a tiny poster.
Wait, didn't Labour say no flights? Didn't Labour say no flights into Imo?
Yeah,
no power supply.
They can give you back. Get feedback from your correspondents in Imo. Ask them. In the whole street of Owerri, whether there is a poster of any other party, I say any other. How can you say election is coming up? Is election coming up? Okay. Even it's in the news. INEC meeting was disrupted. How can you hope there will be any election in a place, even a third senatorial zone, have run away?
The Labour Party was campaigning massively yesterday.
Where?
In Owerri.
Where?
The former presidential candidate was there.
Even the Govt
Achonu was there.
Achonu was, even you carried it in your television. He wasn't even allowed to go into a church.
So are you telling us, are you telling workers?
Even we don't have a faith. Even the workers don't have a faith that the election will determine anything. That's the truth.
You have no confidence in the electoral process. Is that what you're saying? Or you're going to tell workers that, look, this is not our candidate for the elections?
No. We are not. The first is that we don't believe that the election in Imo will produce anything. Because the Imo people have been crushed, violence have taken over the place.
So are you telling them not to come out to vote?
We are not telling them, but I'm telling you that the people will be scared to come out. If people have run away from their homes before the election, and the build up to the election, people are attacked every day, will you advise your family members to come out?
You are still not. Are you saying that people should not come out to vote?
Why should you say people should not come out to vote? But we are scared that people will not come out to vote.
So,
40,000
policemen, according to the
IGP,
is not going to do anything.
That's even the problem. Ajero requested for police. Police came and arrested the police and took over the arena. Why should the people trust that the police will protect them?
Police arrested the police? Is that what you said?
Yeah, dislodged the police. Dislodged them. The question they asked, who brought you here? Who assigned you to be with him? Get out!
Interesting. So
yes,
the
that's what happened.
The fact that the IGP now says that we're going to change the CP ahead of the polls does nothing.
Will they change the DPOs? You are the DPO in charge of House of Assembly that disrupted the NLC election.
What if the DPO is changed? Or the DPOs are changed?
Yeah, that means you have to remove the entire DPOs in Imo State.
Are they all guilty?
I've told you the ones we know. DPO came and sacked our election.
Have you put this position forward to the police, particularly the office of the IGP?
Yes.
And what has been the response?
We've not gotten any response. And if we don't get clear responses to this, by 14th, we're going on a national strike.
Why should the whole of Nigeria be punished for what happened in one state?
One state?
Yes.
Our slogan is injury to one. One single worker in pain in China's television is paid to every other worker in Nigeria and elsewhere.
So what's the way out? I mean, because this town hall conference that happened, on Sunday, our colleague Sheung was able to get a promise from the IGP that he was changing the CP, at least to show some neutrality in Imo State. But now the NLC and the TUC have come out to say that's not enough.
Yeah.
So how many more things need to be done for us to be able to avert this nationwide strike?
You know, it is even during this incident in Imo State, all the police leadership were in Imo.
Indeed. They had a conference, yes.
Yes. But the hotel I was with those people. And they saw our people caught. Our people.
They saw them caught?
Yes.
With machetes?
Yes.
What were they supposed to have done saying that?
No. It's to let you know that it's not as if the police structure is not aware. Because all the leadership was there.
No, but can we assume...
For that to even happen...
No, aren't you assuming if they see people caught, should they automatically assume that they were caught from a protest without them being
we talked with them. I
in the hotel there?
Yeah, I said, we're all in the same hotel. The hotel we are. In fact, we just have about 3 rooms. They have the whole hotel. Incidentally, the people are from Maritime Workers Union. And an officer that worked within their structure know them. It became a discussion in the entire foyer.
What are you suggesting?
So, it is not of ignorance that people don't know what's going on in Imo. We put calls. Even at the peak, we put calls to the IG. He didn't pick. It was a call we put to the NSA that intervened. Because Jero was being taken to a place where they kill people. It was his call and intervention that they pulled him out of the place. They would have killed him. So why are we pretending that we don't know that Imo State have collapsed?
There's a circular that was circulated and signed by a certain Comrade Marcos Opara, who is the former acting chairman of Organized Labor. The other part too, also signed by certain Comrade Ngozi Nani, who says, Chairman NUHPSW and PRO Organized Labor, wherein they say that they disclaimed any directive given by Labor, and also saying that Organized Labor in Imo State was served an order of interim court injunction by Industrial Court sitting in Ore by Honorable Justice NCS Ugwanya on 27th October 2023. And it says that, therefore, on this premise, all MDAs are hereby directed to be at their respective duty posts. So this was the 1st of November, and then they are continuing in that same light, saying dissociate themselves with Labor.
Well, you've listened to me. Historically, the governor came and have a warped idea that he will create his own labor union. And you know, the embarrassing thing is that this thing is happening at a time Nigeria is chairing the governing board of ILO. Currently, the International Labour Organization governing board is chaired by Nigerian government. Yeah. And the ILO is clear about non-intervention of employer into trade union matters.
Sorry, just before, Imlin called out the name of this individual.
I wouldn't know them.
You don't know this
Yes,
Comrade Okwara?
They don't even exist. The NLC have constitution, the unions have constitution, they have ways they elect their members. It is clear workers elect their members. Governors don't appoint union leaders.
How about Comrade Ngozi Nani?
I don't know him. Which union? Who elected him?
Chairman, NUHPSW and PRO.
We don't have such organization. So you can see there is a total move to bring unconstitutionality into the entire system. First, violating the constitution of the land, violating the ILO conventions. And I say it is interesting that this is happening at a time Nigeria is chairing the government board of ILO.
Tell us, what exactly, because before things got this bad, we also saw a letter, saying that they didn't want the intervention of the Labour Minister, Simon Lalong, in the matters in Imo State. It was declared a persona non grata into those matters by the NLC.
Yes.
So tell us, what exactly did the...
We signed an agreement with the federal government that led to the suspension of the nationwide strike. And the Minister of Labour, who was to see through the implementation of the agreement, abandoned the agreement and started doing things other than things that were agreed on. So we lost confidence in his ability to play his role as an arbitrator, a conciliator, which his role as a minister gives him. So he has abandoned his role. So we have no reason to believe in him.
Okay, so it is a loss of confidence in terms of how he's carried out the federal government agreement with Labour that you have lost confidence in. Not that he's done anything that pertains to Imo State.
No. We don't lie against anybody. He has not done anything pertaining to Imo. But the agreement we signed, which he signed, he is violating that agreement.
So what's the way out? Because you were telling us about the way out, I think. What exactly is the way? What are we looking at now? What will avert the strike come November the 14th?
So we put them straight. We've put the things we expect the authorities to do. Imo State is not an island unto itself. It's not.
Who are the authorities in this situation?
The federal government. We've made some demands to them. We have written them.
But the federal government would usually act through the Minister of Labour. And if you say you've lost confidence in the Minister of Labour, how are they going to...
But the federal government acted outside the Ministry of Labour when we got to headway on the issue of national strike. And from time to time, negotiations, based on the enormity of the challenge, government scales it up. At times to Secretary to Government, at times to Chief of Staff. It scales it up. We have been in situations in this country, not just this government, but including even this government, where the president directly intervenes.
Okay, so
it's not something new.
As we wind down now, you say you don't know those persons who signed that circular.
Yeah.
So who then are the leaders of Labour in Imo?
We have a caretaker committee set by the National, approved by our National Executive Council meeting.
What's his name?
The name of the caretaker committee.
Yes.
Yeah. He is the head of, I don't want to call the wrong name, the secretary is Peter and Huaji. That's the secretary, who is a full-time secretary. The caretaker chair is the chairman of NASU, Non-Academic Staff Union. Because we're picking from the union. You don't just go and appoint somebody.
Well, both of them, they speak for Labour.
Of course they do.
Why haven't we heard them?
No, they have been speaking. They have been speaking. Until now, no news was coming out of Imo. Nothing that happens in Imo gets the news. At a point, if I must be honest with you, we became worried whether there is a conspiracy of silence by the media. Yes. But why should all this news disappear?
All what news, precisely?
News about Imo. They have issued statements. Now, they have issued statements, you don't have it. But the statement of a non-body, a non-recognized body, will be published.
They need to check who they send their statements to.
Exactly.
Because if they send it to the press, if they send it to us, we will refer to them.
I mean, we wouldn't be asking you who the representatives of NLC in Imo is.
You people seated here are people we all in Nigeria respect. Because we see your courage and the unbiasedness and the ability to deal with national issues. So I must also not be afraid to let you know that most correspondents of media houses in the states don't exist. Because we know that at times, even the PRO to the governor write the statements and give them to sign. Not just Imo. Because we have been in this business over the years.
Well, if Labour notices that.
And that's why most times, if we are going to a state for a contestation, we seek Labour reporters to come outside the state.
Well, if
it's not the first time. It's not just about this regime in Imo.
You know, if any such thing happens, clearly it's not something any media house we will tolerate, for instance. And you know that if it happens, you know you can escalate it. So that is clear.
That's what
explore those
to
measures.
do now.
So yeah. So as we conclude on this now, so Labour, that's the NEC in session, as you referred to yourself at the time. You ordered the immediate withdrawal of services and shutdown of Imo State beginning when? Today? Midnight today?
Yeah, it's already on.
It's already on.
Yeah.
No flight in. You shut down power supply in the States. Everybody withdraws.
Power supply is off already. What about to go off is off.
And no flights going into Imo.
Yes.
Does this factor in health workers, people in hospitals, people in critical need?
Usually, when we do a national, we have a way, because the unions will provide skeletal services for essentials. That will do.
All right.
What about the elections? I mean, election logistics. Don't you think that this could affect?
Must there be election in Imo? Will the world end? Will the world end if there is no election in Imo State?
Is that what you're gunning towards? To disrupt elections totally?
No. But the world will not end. We use because of election in Imo, and we demand for the right of workers.
And you don't think that you are also contravening the Constitution by that?
By how?
By disrupting elections?
I'm not disrupting the election.
Really?
We are going on strike.
All right. Honorable Uchenna Ekwe is the head of the International Relations Nigeria Labour Congress. Thank you for coming on. So we will be back in a moment to still focus on some aspects of the election. So stay on with us.